This is a tutorial on how to make the covers for next year's yearbook. Your task is to create a cover that incorporates your theme and the number 3. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go up here to where it says File, and you're going to go to New. When you get the new dialog box, yours is going to look a little different than mine since you have the latest version, but this stuff is essentially the same. You're going to title this, and I would like these to be titled all the same. You're going to put 2017-18 yearbook cover, no spaces, and it's kind of Twitter style. And then you're going to put your initials. I'm going to put JB. For your width and your height, your width is going to be 18 inches by 9 inches high and a resolution of 300. Now yours is going to have a little scroll down on the side here where you can scroll down and choose transparent. So your background contents are going to be transparent. So go ahead and select that if you can and then click OK. You're going to get essentially a blank template. And this is essentially what your yearbook cover is going to look like. You need to have in the middle here on your spine, it's going to say the Labyrinth Volume 3. So the 3 will tie in very nicely with that. And you have a couple of options here. So your text tool here, you can actually do a vertical text one or horizontal. I'm going to keep it horizontal and just hit enter and making sure it's on center. So that's way too big. Let's try that again. I don't know if I spelled labyrinth right, but is it labyrinth? I believe it's that way. Oh, spinning wheel of death. So that's going to be your center point. Now you notice there's no bounding box around it. If you want to turn that on, you have the show transform controls up here. Check that box. Now I have a little bounding box there. At the top you'll notice the ruler is turned on, so I can put it right there in the middle at 9. So I know that's perfectly centered in the middle. I got to do a little fixing there. But the sky's the limit on Photoshop. You can pretty much add anything you want. You can go nuts. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. So say you want to use a graphic, such as, I don't know, a tree. We'll just pick a tree. You can go to any Google image. So we'll do a Google search here. Something that will make your life much easier. You all know how to do a cutout, but if you search Google Images and you search PNG, a lot of times you can find images that are already cut out for you, which will save you a ton of time. So let's try that. So we're going to look up a tree, PNG. And to save yourself some time, you want to make sure over here you have some options. Let's see, tools. All right, so click on tools, and then these will show up. I'm going to go to images, tools. And now we have some options here. One of those options is size. You can go to size, and then you can actually go down here and get larger than these 2 megabyte or megapixel to 4 megapixel images are much larger. So let's go with, I'm going to go with the biggest one I got. So I'm looking at tree PNGs. So I'm going to go with this one here. This one's kind of cool looking. And the way you can tell is if when it loads, you should be able to see almost a checkered background behind it. If you don't see that, it's not a true PNG. But this one I can easily make into one. So that's what I think I'm going to do because I really like that tree. But let me show you another example. Loading. See how there's a little checkered background behind it? That means it's a true PNG. There's no background behind it. So, well, I still like this one. All right, so I'm going to right-click, save as, save image as. It's going to send it to my downloads, hopefully. All right, so we're going to call this tree 1. And then I'm also going to pull up, let's see. Let's see what 3 PNG pulls up. All kinds of cool looking 3s. I'm not loving any of those. I don't like any of those. Leave them alone. All right, so I'm going to come back into Photoshop. Make sure it says Photoshop CC at the top here. File open. I'm going to open up my tree image from my downloads. First thing I need to do is I need to remove that background. So on this one, since it's a completely white background, it's going to be super easy. I'm simply going to go to Command J to create a duplicate copy, turn off my background copy, go to Select Color Range. I'm going to select the white, click OK, delete, and now I have my PNG. This is not as high resolution as I thought it would be, but let's see what we got when we pull it over. So you pull it over, hover, and then drop. Oh, that's way too small. Okay, so this is just a very basic design. I would have my theme on here. Just a thing to note, the left side is the back of the book. You need to imagine that the front side of the book is over here. So think of a book that's folded in half, right? So this is going to be, the cover essentially is going to be here, and this is going to be the back of the book. So I would probably move it this way, just to start with. And remember, you're working with layers, so I want to have my text layer on top of the tree. I can have it like that. So once you get all your pieces in place, guys, remember, this is just a concept piece. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's to get your ideas on there. So think of this as kind of a thumbnail sketch of just to get your ideas of where you want them to be, okay? To save this needs to be saved as a JPEG, okay? So you're going to go to File, Save As, or Command S, and you're going to get the Save As dialog box. It should already be labeled correctly, because when you created it, it's the same. You're going to put it somewhere where you can easily find it. I do not recommend you save these onto the computers and leave them. These are public computers. Things happen. They get unplugged. They get deleted. People move stuff. So that's why you're supposed to have thumb drives. I recommend you put it on that. Okay. Last thing, format, JPEG. You want to, instead of changing this to JPEG, you need to hit this drop-down box. If you go up here and try to change this, put JPG in there, you're going to corrupt the file and lose all of your work. So it's really important that you hit this drop-down box and change it to JPEG. And then you're going to click Save. It's going to ask you for a quality. Always 12. Quality 12. And click OK. You can add all kinds of cool stuff to these. If you have any questions, let me know.